Good morning. Are you ready to start our day?
So, to be completely honest with you, I'm struggling a little bit with motivation today. I am supposed to be filming a video about a nervous system reboot, and my nervous system said no. So, we are going to do just a hangout with me video, just a fun little vlog. There's no real point to it, although, as often happens, maybe I will find a point as we move through the day. Who knows? But I've got some things I got to clean up. And yeah, we're just going to spend the day together and see what happens. Because, something always happens, right? So let us start where we should always start, with cinnamon rolls. That sounds like a plan. All right, so we start with a cup of warm milk, and we want it to be around 110 degrees Fahrenheit because we don't want it too hot that it kills the yeast, but we want it warm enough that it will activate the yeast. And I think I got this a little too warm, because if you don't have a thermometer, the best practice is to stick your finger in it. And if you can hold it there without scalding yourself, that's fine, actually. Then it's fine. So, quarter cup of sugar to 1 cup of milk, and a packet of active dry yeast, which, if you buy it in bulk, is 2 1/4 teaspoons. I measure a lot of stuff with my heart. They say baking is a science and you have to get it right, but honestly, once you understand like the liquid to flour ratio, you can play. It's not that serious. And as I'm doing this, so we're going to let the yeast bloom in the milk and the sugar until it gets frothy on top. When you use active dry yeast, a lot of recipes tell you don't have to do that. But if you don't bloom it first, you'll have no idea if the yeast was bad, if you killed the yeast with too warm of liquid, until after you've wasted all the other ingredients and find out that your dough doesn't rise. So I always bloom fast-acting and not fast-acting yeast before I put everything together, just for my peace of mind. So we're going to let that bloom for like 5 minutes. So I got a stick of softened butter here. I'm going to put the dry ingredients in here while we're waiting for the yeast to bloom. And we're going to do 3 cups of flour. Some of those were heaping. I don't care. You can always add more liquid. You can always add more flour. It's just, seriously, you guys, it's not that serious. People try to complicate baking so much, and I don't know if they're like, I don't know. So we're going to put some salt in there. Again, measure with your health and your heart. Salt brings out the sweetness. So you always want to make sure that you are salting your sweet pastries. It's very important. It really, truly is. And now I got a really weird question for everybody. For those who drink dairy milk, we drink whole milk. Well, we don't drink any milk. For people who use milk, have you been having issues with it going bad way faster than usual? I buy half gallons because I can't use a full gallon before it goes bad in the normal amount of time. I only use it for baking. We don't really eat cereal. We don't drink it. So I really only use it for baking. But it's so much cheaper to buy a half gallon than it is to buy like a quart or a pint, that I get the half gallon. But I feel like within 3 days now of opening these, it's chunky. And my fridge is cold. Like, nothing else in my fridge goes bad. It's just the milk. And I buy my milk at Kroger or Aldi, and I'm having the same issue at both places. So I'm curious if anyone else has noticed that their milk is going bad extremely fast. So let me know if you're running into that issue too, or if it's just us. Maybe it's a Metro Detroit thing. I don't know, but it's annoying is what it is. It is super annoying. All right, let's take a look. Oh, see, and that's already frothy. I didn't actually show you what it looks like, but if you bake, you know what a frothy yeast looks like. So we're going to put, how are we going to do this? We're going to put this in first, and we want to get everything in there. I always scrape it with a rubber spatula to get all the liquid and all the yeast into my pan. And then we're going to hit it with some vanilla. And we're going to put half of this stick of softened butter in there. And we're going to save the other half for when we assemble. And then I'm going to run this. I like to just kind of whisk it around the bottom and make sure that the liquid gets under the flour. So I'm going to run this and put some music on or something because it's going to be loud. All right. And we want it to just come together. We want it not stick into the sides of the pan. I like to give it a couple little things to smooth it out. And then you can leave it to rest in here, or you can put it in another bowl. I'm not making anything else right now, so I'm just going to leave it in here. I'm going to cover it with a towel, and I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to let it rest for anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour. It really depends on whether or not I think about it. Because sometimes I forget. I got ADHD, man. So it's funny because I wanted to do, the video I wanted to do today, right, was the nervous system reboot. And I don't know, I wasn't feeling sit down, research, do the stuff. But as I said, maybe as we go, I'll figure something out. This is how I reset my nervous system. I cook and I bake and I clean. And those are the things that for me help me regulate, right? They help me to calm down when I am in a sense of fight, flight, freeze. Baking is one of those things because it is, for me, kind of mindless. I make the same things all the time, right? And yeah, we try new stuff and we try new versions of things, but I make the same things. It's always a sweet dough or a bread dough. And so it doesn't require a lot of thought, but it's tactile. I'm getting my hands in the dough. I'm getting my hands in the things. I'm washing dishes. I'm doing things with my hands, and that always helps. And when I am done, I have a finished product, right? I have something that I've done something from start to finish. And yeah, what I have done is create new and yummy carbs to ingest, but I've accomplished something. So, this isn't necessarily a nervous system reboot video now, but I will be doing the things that help me to reboot. I'm going to fix this camera because I'm at a really weird angle. We talked in the Getting Unstuck video about the things that can help, right? You make your lists and you do, you do something. You move an inch in any direction. And it doesn't have to be productive to be productive, right? It doesn't have to involve spreadsheets and color coding and going after specific goals. It can just be proving to yourself that you can complete something. And if that something is cinnamon rolls, if that something is a loaf of bread, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a diamond painting or a cross stitch or you crochet some booties. Like, just completing something, proving to yourself that you can do it, that is where the magic happens, right? So speaking of where the magic happens, I got to go change my sheets. That was a cribs joke. If you are old school MTV, you laughed, and if you're not, you think I'm super gross, and that sounds like a you problem. So let's go make the bed. So last night, well, okay, my husband and I have started watching movies together once or twice a week in an attempt to, spend time together and, act like we like each other, maybe take a break from our phones, which actually doesn't work that well because we're just on our phones while we're watching the movie. But anyway, so last night we watched 28 Years Later, which is the third in a zombie movie trilogy. The first one was Danny Boyle, directed by Danny Boyle. The second one was not. And then the third one was a return to Danny Boyle. So I really wanted to watch 28 Years Later. I loved 28 Days Later, even though I am not a fan of zombie movies. Zombie movies scare the crap out of me because, zombies were people and now they're zombies. And I don't like that. So I couldn't remember 28 Weeks Later, which is the second one. And my husband was convinced, no, we watched it. Remember, it has Jeremy Renner and blah. I'm like, I do not remember. So we watched that one first. And I didn't enjoy it. I did not like it. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but I did not care for it. So finally, last night, we got around to 28 Years Later. I just put those in the wrong basket. And it was disgusting. Like, it was gore for the sake of gore, which I'm not a big fan of gore anyway. But I can look away. So if a movie's gory, I can make it work. But this was just gross. And I didn't understand what was going on. I feel like the characters made irrational, stupid decisions, which I understand is like the core of a horror movie, is that the characters make stupid decisions. I do understand the concept of a horror movie, but it felt particularly dumb and like I said, just super, super gory. And at one point, I just walked away. I left and took Hawk for a walk because I just couldn't follow. Well, I just didn't understand the point of the movie, I guess, was my issue. And even when we got to the end, I didn't understand the point of the movie. And I feel like I was really let down because I wanted a good movie and I felt that it was not a good movie. So, we waited so long for it to be made in the first place and then to come out, and then we didn't go see it in the theater. And man, I'm so glad now that we did not go see it in the theater because I couldn't have handled it. It was so gross. But I don't know. I was really, really disappointed with the story, with the gore for the sake of gore instead of it like adding anything to the story or the plot. It was just, I was super disappointed. So that was my fault, really, for wanting to watch a zombie movie when I know I don't really like them. I guess I just thought for some reason 28 Days Later gets a pass. I suppose I thought 28 Years Later would too. It doesn't. I don't like it. So now he says I have to pick the next movie. And he says I should pick a vampire movie because vampire movies are my favorite kind of horror movies. But I've seen all the vampire movies. So I'm sure that I could pick something that he's never seen, at least, that I enjoy. I'm just not sure what that would be right now because I'm still traumatized from the movie we watched last night. And I'm not thinking clearly. If you're curious, this is my electric blanket, and it only goes on my side of the bed because I am already a furnace with my hot flashes and stuff. So Chris prefers that I not also bake him under a blanket in addition to the heat I radiate all on my own. So it goes on my side of the bed, and halfway through the night, I I kick it off and pull it out from between all the covers because I end up boiling, and such is life right now. But I like to get into a preheated bed. I think it's lovely. It's like a special treat. And clean sheets in a preheated bed, awesome. So if you have any suggestions for, your favorite vampire movie, please drop them in the comments, because sometimes they start to blur together. I mean, obviously, I have my favorites, John Carpenter's Vampires, which, I mean, you talk about gory. That movie's super gory, but I don't know. I think vampires get a pass. I don't know why. I don't know. It's just part of my weird psyche, I guess. I don't know. But vampire gore does not seem to bother me as much as all other gore. And I don't know, I guess vampires were just people too, and now they're vampires. But I think vampires are romantic. So maybe I don't view them so much in the horror genre. I don't know. I don't know what my problem is, but I got to pick a vampire movie. So please throw those in the comments. We watched, so on Svengoolie in October, they are doing double features. And this week was Frankenstein's Monster double feature. So we watched Young Frankenstein. And then it was the original Frankenstein, but I went to bed because I can't stay awake that late. But it was fun. I love that movie. And I love Svengoolie. If you are not from the Midwest, you might not be familiar with Svengoolie, but he's like a really funny, if you know who the Ghoul is, or like a human crypt keeper in a top hat, but not scary. He just, he watches old movies and talks about them and tells you things about the production and the cast, and it's just fun. And there's like a offshoot of it, the Svengoolie crew, that they do their own thing, and one of the characters on the offshoot is Gwen Gooley, and I love her, and I wanted to be her for Halloween, and now it turns out we're not actually doing anything for Halloween, so I don't need that costume this year. And so that's a bummer, because I was actually kind of looking forward to dressing up, because my youngest is, 15 now, so he doesn't want to trick or treat and dress up, and we don't have any parties to go to or anything, so it's just going to be a stay-at-home Halloween. We'll probably watch movies and eat candy and just treat it like every other weekend in October, because that's what we do. We watch movies and eat candy and hang out, and it's lovely. Well, it's lovely when the movie's good. So, all right, let's keep doing stuff. So, fun fact, good times. None of my audio recorded through this whole section. And this was like, I don't know, a solid 15, well, maybe not 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, where I walked you through, like, you mix the brown sugar and the cinnamon, and then you roll out the dough into a rectangle, and you spread butter all over it, and then you put your fillings in and you roll it up from the long side. And I walked you through all of it like I was freaking Martha Stewart on the Today Show, and none of the audio, I did not turn on my microphone. And like, this has kind of been how it's been today, because there were a couple of other clips that I did where I recorded the part where I was hooking the camera up and setting up the tripod, and then I turned it off to record myself like putting in laundry or whatever. So, whatever, it's fine. You do the best that you can with what you have available, and I'm not in the headspace to be hosting a cooking show today. So really you didn't miss anything, because I didn't measure anything. I very rarely measure fillings of any kind. So really right here, I'm cleaning up the bench. I'm going to cut the cinnamon rolls into 8 rolls. I'm going to let them rise in the oven with the oven light on, because it's chilly in here, and they're going to be more likely to puff up if I have some kind of warmth hitting them, but you don't want to turn the oven on, So I space them apart a little bit because they are going to fluff up, And then I cover them with a towel again, and I put them in the oven with the light on, and it's all fine. And now we're just gonna clean up.
Mr. Man had a big day today. He got to chase a cat outside, and now he's very sleepy. He won't look at me because he doesn't want me to tell him he needs to get up. Like, maybe if I ignore my mama, she'll leave me alone. Let's do boops. Boop. Oh, thank you. Nice boops. Okay, I'll leave you alone. You got some sleep. Oh.
So listen, if anyone is concerned that one day I will become like a too big for my britches, super polished, influencer level YouTuber, let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? Because many, many things happened in the filming and editing and putting together of this video. The first being, obviously, that my microphone went out and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And it turns out that the receiver that goes into my phone that makes it wireless has a charging port. You see that? Because I didn't see it. I didn't see it the whole time I've owned this. I have never once plugged this receiver in. So it is amazing that my microphone has worked at all this whole time, because you have to charge this thing. And that's why the microphone stopped pairing. And I figured that out the next day after I filmed this video, okay? And then I made a new outro actual this morning to explain that to you and to remind you that I'm just a little bit dumb. And that's a beautiful thing because it keeps me real and it keeps me humble. And, you know, the first step is admitting you have a problem. And my problem is that I am technologically challenged because what I did was deleted the outro before exporting the video. So thank goodness I went back and watched it before I uploaded it, because there was just like 4 minutes of black screen and silence at the end of the video. This is why big influencers pay people to edit their videos, right? Because you need someone who knows what they're doing. But that's okay. It's okay that I don't know what I'm doing, because if there was nothing left to learn, what would be the point of moving forward, right? So it's all good. It's fine. It's just a typical day in my life, and that's what I wanted this video to be. So we are in real time learning. I am not the smarty pants that I may come across in other videos. I'm really kind of dumb. And I love that for me. And honestly, I love it for you because it keeps me real. And all I've ever wanted since day one of coming onto YouTube and filming myself was to be real, to stay real, to show you the messy parts of my life and my brain and my house. And we got that today. And I'm so glad I got to share that with you. And hopefully you are too. So if you enjoyed spending this weird, random, messy day with me, please don't forget to smash all those YouTube buttons for me. Leave me a comment below and give me movie suggestions. Let me know if your milk is going bad or if there is just something wrong with me. And let me know if you enjoyed this type of video. Obviously, I'm not switching to full-time vlogging. One, I'm not very good at it, as we can see. But two, there are so many things that I want to learn and have learned that I want to share, and ways to help you be productive in non-toxic ways, and ways to love and accept your ADHD and get things done, you know, so that's not going away. But on occasion, in addition to the Rebel Rambles where I am just rambling, I would like to share parts of my life with you. I would like to share the occasional day in my real life, in my real home, with my real chaotic stuff. And if you enjoyed that, I would love it if you would let me know. I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day and your week, and I will see you Saturday for a Rebel Ramble. I love you so much. Bye.